So interpreting the Scorpio Stellium that's going on is quite important. What it's trying to teach us with this overall energy of the Sun and Mercury and Mars is it's trying to help us to manage our manipulative drives within ourselves and how to move through that destructive nature that we have inside of us, because manipulation is a survival mechanism. And when we're in states of lack, when we don't have enough resources, being manipulative actually keeps us alive. However, when we have such an abundant lifestyle like what we have today, manipulation's not appropriate, okay? So that's where it becomes destructive. So understanding how that energy is destructive in your life is part of what this journey has been for the last 2 years. So understanding where that destructive nature comes through in your interactions with other people is really vital in your way of achieving what you want to achieve in this life. This now enables you to have a more subjective view, and it's encouraged that you use observational skills. So that's looking, staying quiet, and observing what's going on around you and taking note and analyzing those things that are going on around you. This energy also wants you to release the need for power and control and material worth. Practicing gratitude and observation skills will help you to transcend this energy in a much more positive way. Okay, so when interpreting a seesaw chart, the reason why we're bouncing around instead of going in like a full circle or any of the other styles of reading is because it's actually how the energy tends to flow. So this is in the priority of how you should address particular issues. So even though it's a lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse is actually more important and more highlighted. It's in a stronger position as well energetically because Mercury is exalted, the Mars is exalted, and the Sun is exalted. Whereas the other energies, apart from the Moon being exalted, Jupiter is weak, and so is Uranus. So you go with the strongest energies to the weakest energies. And that's how you read a locomotive chart. So I'm going to bounce around in order so you can learn what's strong and what's weak and how to go about interpreting things. The Moon in Taurus is at 5 degrees here. So we did notice a big movement towards like curvier girls, and that sort of thing will continue as well, especially with that Libra eclipse coming in March. So you will find that that energy is going to continue on. So you may find that weight fluctuation is still going to be an issue for some of you, or weight problems. But generally society will be encouraging more curvaceousness, and you'll see that coming through in architecture, and you'll see that in people's bodies as well. So haughtiness, boastfulness, and exaggerated pride, along with authoritative social movements, hyper judgment, cruel and severe trials, crucifixion, and destruction of architecture will be things that will be closing off in this cycle. Things that will be opening up to you will be money made in goldsmithing, metal craftsmanship, enhancement of beauty from wearing jewelry and devices for adoring the body, ankle bracelets of gold, and chains are emphasized. Poetry, theatre, and choir events will be highlighted and continue to raise in popularity. And mirrors and reflections are also emphasized in this energy. So you'll probably find that you're attracted to people who mirror you psychologically, and you'll do a lot of psychological projection of mirroring behaviors, and that will actually be more influential along the populace too. But people will see through it if it's disingenuine. So if you're naturally mirroring people, or you're a natural mirror, you'll probably go quite well in this energy. But if you're somebody who's trying to mirror and become more socially acceptable because of that, you'll find that you'll get hyper rejection as a result. So this is very much about being a genuine version of the self, and that's emphasized here. New energies that are also continuing will be the Freemasonry energy. So they will have more opportunities to make money. So will stonemasons, and they will have a lot of public support. Love triangles are also really strong in this energy, as is righteous benevolence and truthful natures. So as long as you're honest and stick to your integrity, people will come to your side. And if you are in a love triangle, it will eventually resolve itself. just as long as you are presenting your genuine self. People in the legal profession will have huge workloads coming, so expect plenty of money and lots of opportunities to get lots and lots of work done. It's very unfortunate to go with the crowd at the moment because we're coming into that age of Aquarius energy, and that's becoming more and more emphasized. And this will particularly cost you a lot of money moving with the crowd, and it will cost you a lot of possessions and also how you value yourself. So be mindful of that. The Moon in Taurus also relates to two tarot cards, so the High Priestess and the Fool. So it suggests that there are moments where you're going to have an innocence and a purity and a period of naivety. So you're going to be discovering and breaking new ground within the self. And that will repel people who are no longer serving you and who are not serving your greatest purpose and your greatest version of yourself. If you're being disingenuous and you're trying to fit in with the wrong crowd, like, you're going to be repelled in this energy very quickly. And so that will mean that you have to make new friends and make new circles and new exciting adventures, particularly in romantic relationships. So you'll probably find that you're sifting through quite a few romantic relationships until you find the one. So this has got a very the one energy coming through. So towards March next year, you'll find that the one is really a strong energy and people will start looking for their soulmates and their twin flames, and that there'll be a lot of partnering off and pairing off going on. And the High Priestess suggests that there's a lot of intuition. So you'll get a lot of intuitive downloads and a lot of feelings that this is it. This is the right person that you're meant to be. You're at the right place, the right time, all of that sort of stuff. It feels like the universe is culminating and coming together for you to help you, rather than there being this push-pull of constantly trying to, be with the one. There is going to be a more settledness in the self, and then that person just organically rolling through into your life and appreciating you for who you are without you having to change every single part of the self. This is more about you moving into your genuine energy and somebody genuinely receiving that and wanting to nurture that within you. So that's what these cards represent. Moving on to the Jupiter energy here. So Jupiter is our lucky planet and it worships our joy. So this is where we will be more joyful and abundant in the future. A love of knowledge and science is something that's closing off. Travel and risks of drowning are also closing. So this can even be feelings of drowning. It doesn't have to be literal drowning. The end of unjustified enmities, ill health of a marriage partner, if for those of you who are in a marriage, and difficulties paying the mortgage. So we can look forward to that. New energies that will be coming in will be strong and uncontrolled passion. So this could be something like acrobatics, domestic disharmony, temporary separations. If you've been separated from a loved one for a long time, you'll probably find that that's actually going to resolve itself very soon. So for those of you, again, in those twin flame relationships, union is coming. Jealousy, difficulties with writing. So for those of you who suffer from creative blocks, you'll find that they're starting to come unstuck. Hatred of vulgar and ill-willed women. So you'll find that women who don't align with your value system and who don't reflect grace, poise, elegance, sophistication will tend to be more repulsive than normal. And you'll be wanting to look for somebody who's more refined, more balanced, more in line with your status and what you bring to the world. Legal losses, destruction of crops, separation from children and lovers, or other things that will be continuing on, unfortunately. Loss of identity, finding your real parents, and wasted talents. So this is a call out for you to look at what you're doing in your daily practices and going, where am I wasting my talent? Where am I wasting my opportunities? Where am I ignoring the gifts that I have and the talents that I have and the things that I am? And how can I allow them to flourish by incorporating them into my daily practices? Holding on to hope might be particularly difficult as well, but is essential for progress. The other two tarot cards that are reflective of the Jupiter energy are the High Priestess, which we had already relating to Taurus energy, and the Stars. So what this tells you is that intuitively, you will be able to see the things that make you unique. and the things that, enable you to imprint on this world. So the impact that you can have in your social dynamics and also as a collective are going to become more clear to you. So you will be able to organically move in the flow of who you are, rather than there being this resistance of trying to fulfill social norms and trying to be like everybody else. You'll find that becomes less and less appealing to you. And you'll find that it emotionally upsets you more and more every time you have to compromise who you are to fit in. So you'll find that there's more of this ease in being who you are and just naturally attracting people who are like you to the fold. So that will take a couple of years for that to progress to all its fullness though. Okay, so the retrograded Uranus energy that will be ending is you not being yourself, not being able to think rationally, which was designed to create new thoughts and challenges in our problem solving when defending our values. The things that are likely to continue are themes of egotism, as we understand the inflated aspects of self, of your character, and we develop new images of ourselves through the material choices. So for example, this could be logos with your business, or your clothing style could change drastically. Self-exploration is essential for the next 12 months. This is a great time to accumulate wealth and clear out any negative aspects of self, especially laziness. So the Taurus Stellium is actually here with Jupiter, Uranus, and the Moon all working together to create this interpretation of spiritual enlightenment through the loss of materials and value involving friendships and networks. What is to be gained from this is appreciation and gratitude for what you have and better grieving skills. The knowledge of illusions is emphasized. Avoid chaos by knowing your worth and reinforcing it in your behavior. The interesting part about this chart is, of course, we have the lunar eclipse occurring in one sign and we have the north node and south node in another. So normally they are in the same sign. What we'll see is that the theme of the moon is separate from the theme of its shadow. So the nodes are the shadow of the moon. So what they often represent is our desires and our devourment, okay, and the access of that. So desiring the self, which is adventure, uncharted territories, new expertise, as well as poetry and comedy. A unique voice and perspective will be favorable amongst the people, especially if you want to create new connections and followings. But this comes at the sacrifice, this self-investment comes at the sacrifice of the relational energy. Okay, so that becomes your devour point. So the south node devours and the north node desires. So we have to find this beautiful balance between the two and build the bridge between these two themes and these two energies. And that can be quite difficult because we tend to follow the north node really heavily and we tend to kind of forget about the spiritual part, which is the relationship. So we're actually seeking relationship because that's where our spiritual fulfillment will lie, but we're desiring to be by ourselves because we want to value ourselves more highly, and that's where the most energy of development can occur. So if you are developmentally delayed, you'll find that these next couple of years will be an opportunity for you to catch up on developing yourself and becoming something that is desirable in a relationship. So that's kind of the lesson of these nodes working. And that is about relationship and balance. So that's what's devoured in that search of self, is what I was talking about earlier. Overworking, rural pursuits, excessive holidaying to the country, or potentially working interstate or long distance, excessive expenditure, lavish dates, going on personal expenses like dentistry, and expecting your partner to excite, move you, and be at your beck and call are things that are going to be emphasized and also causing destruction and chaos in your relationships, especially your intimate relationships.